Good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. It is a absolutely beautiful sunny day in Farnham, and I am in my house sewing. So for those of you who haven't met me before, hi, I'm Katie Silverwings, also known as Katie Hinton to my family. And I am a textile artist and glassblower, currently studying at the University of Creative Arts in Farnham in the UK, and I am today working on some of the patchwork banners. You can see up here behind me one of the banners I've made in the past. That these banners will be displayed eventually with some glass pieces that I've been making and designing that also have quilt and patchwork patterns in them. But today I am working on something really special. This is one of my sketchbooks. I say one of. Those of you who know me know that I tend to keep a pile of sketchbooks with different purposes. This is the one that all my designs live in. And today, what I'm working on are the component blocks for these and these kinds of designs. So the ones I'm working on in particular are this design here. You can see I kind of keep them in the sketchbook laid out so they look like little fluttery banners. So this one that has a mixture of white and primary colors in it, going this way so that the diamonds in the center are white. And then I'll also be hopefully making some where the diamonds in the center are colored and the outside is white. So those are the two things I'm working on today. I made a piece yesterday. Let's see. You can't see it in the sunshine. Let me go get it. Put the sketchbook down. So this is the one I made yesterday. This one took me about 2.5 hours to get everything done, and that was while I was live streaming my sewing process and things. And all of the fabrics on this one, as on the one that I'm making today, are ones that started off white, and I have dyed them myself because that is one of the things I love doing, especially with patchwork fabric, is dyeing it myself. I do a lot of ice dyeing or tie dyeing for my patchwork fabrics because I really like the variations in color and pattern I can get with that. So for these, this one has a few fabrics that have prints on them. So they were white on white prints to start with, and then I dyed them, and now they have pretty colors. The ones that I'm doing today are just plain fabrics that I have gone through and dyed. And I am going to be making a lot of this same kind of block, but where one half, instead of being red, is white, and one half will be bright primary colors like red and white, or red and blue and yellow. So yeah, hello if you are there watching. I do this mostly for myself, so I have something to talk to while I am working, because I have a lot of patchwork that I'm doing for my project right now, and since I am staying in my house, I am making the most of it. I have my sewing machine here. Her name is Gertrude. She is a lovely sewing machine. She is a 1924 Singer hand crank sewing machine, and she still is in perfect working order, has all of her original parts as far as I know, came with her manual, and sews beautiful straight seams. So just let me set this off to the side and I will get started with the blocks that I'm making today. If anyone has any questions or comments, please leave them for me and I will answer them. I love having a prompt to talk off of, and I hope that you enjoy this if you are watching it. So, one moment. And for those of you who have checked out my streams before during this week while I've been there, again, see, beautiful sunny day in Farnham. I am still new to this. I don't quite have all of the proper equipment and cameras and things, so there will be some periodic Katie turns the webcam back and forth kind of things, but it'll be worth it. So I'd already gotten started on this today, and these are the two center pieces of the blocks I'm making right now. And the white is going to be the core, and I'm going to be adding patterns on around it. So the next strips that I add are going to be a color, and I think for these I'm going to use a blue. So let me get my blue fabric from over here off camera where all of my fabric is. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with this lighter blue. So this was a white piece of fabric that I've gone in and dyed blue. If I remember correctly, this was when I ice dyed the bright blue fabrics that I showed in the pieces or in that piece that I made yesterday, I had some dye left over afterwards, so I scrunched this up in a cup and used it to dye the fabric. And again, low immersion dyeing. You can see all the beautiful patterns, especially because the sun is shining. Oh my goodness. There is sunshine, and it is glorious. So I'm going to tear a strip off of this. The pattern that I'm using calls for strips of fabric, and in order to get the strips to be nice and not have to spend forever lining up and cutting things, since this is a straight grained cotton fabric, I just tear strips. So if you don't like the sound of tearing fabric, I will warn you before I do it, but I actually find that the sound of ripping a strip of fabric to be very satisfying. It's one of the, I have a feeling, though, it's one of those love it or hate it kind of sounds. So I'm going to line this up. I'm doing 2.5-inch wide strips. Yes, I've lived in England for 3 years, and I still use American measurements for everything, but and now I'm going to rip this piece off. And there we go, strip of fabric. So this I'm going to lay over here because I know I may need another strip of fabric in a bit. Just going to make sure that this is nice and straight, and I'm going to go ahead and iron this before I put it on anything. There we go. So now I can just peel the strings off the side of this. And grab my pins. Like I said, it is such a beautiful day here. I don't know why, but ever since everyone here had to start staying in our houses, it has been amazing weather in this country. Just amazing. But luckily I have lots of nice natural light coming in my house, and I've got the other window open for a bit of a breeze. So I'm just going to pin these on here, snip the strip to size, and continue until I run out of blocks to pin. All right, so there's the first one. So you can see I've got a blue strip on one side and a red and white one on the other side, and I'm just going to set that on the computer so you can hold that for me. So I know with this interface, anytime somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook joins, it does and starts watching the video, it does tend to tell me, hey, this person is here. If anybody that I don't know is here, if you give me a little note on the comment with your name and where you're from, I will say hi directly to you, because I like knowing that I'm not entirely alone in the world. But even if I am, I'm going to be doing patchwork for the foreseeable future, and I'm going to be live streaming it as well. This is kind of an experiment for me in just seeing if this is something that's a good approach for me as an artist, and also will be nice for my professional practices unit. So there's another one, all pinned and ready to go. Again, you get to enjoy some of the nice, lovely weather outside my window. This is also good practice for me because we're going to be doing our submissions online and things, and I may end up making a little video about what I'm doing and making for my professor's benefit. Incidentally, since our degree show is going to be online, anybody watching who wants to come to my degree show, it will be online. I will send you all invitations. Everyone can attend. They haven't given us details on that yet, but I will share details as soon as I have them. And you may have heard a pinging sound in the background there. Once I get this one pinned, I am going to check that real quick and just see if that's somebody trying to get my attention or if that is my classmates on our group chat talking to each other. My classmates are very social. It is my classmates and sharing information about something one of our professors has sent us. Excellent. I will read that later. Right now, I am sewing. Yay! No, I don't know why I tend to do the Kermit arm thing, but and another one. So for the design I'm making, I'm going to have 4 or 5 of those diamonds in total, which means I have to have 4 of these blocks for each one of those, which means I have a lot of blocks I'm making today. I am going to be piecing them kind of assembly line chain style. So this will be either a very interesting video for you, or it'll just be something kind of calm, because it's mostly going to be me either pinning things or sewing things or pressing things, because all the seams have to be pressed neatly so that they lay right and sew right. And if I were going to be quilting these banners, which who knows, I may do someday if I ever get a long arm machine, just go through and quilt everything. But it would be important to make sure all the seams are pressed correctly so that they don't bunch up and cause problems. There's another one. Looks like I'm going to have to tear another strip of blue fabric. And probably I'm going to have to go over there, find my phone, and mute notifications on it because that pinging sound gets on my nerves. Case in point. One moment. So the big topic of conversation today is what the new submission guidelines mean for us, because insert general world situation here, we have had a bit of an issue with the requirements, hi Cheyenne, changing for our program. So we're going to be doing a lot more stuff as online, and this is what I was going to do. I'm just going to keep making patchwork and hope for the best and deal with whatever it is that the professors have sent through later, because I just don't want to handle it right now. Right now, I'm going to continue working. So today, got this whole bunch of these that I'm pinning together right now. And there's another one. Getting a nice little stack of pieces today. Yesterday I was only making 3 blocks. Today I'm making a lot of them. Ah, yes, I love it when this happens. So the blue piece is almost the right size, but it is still just a tiny bit too short. Yeah, so that is shorter than the required seam allowances. So this piece of blue is going to have to go into my bag of tricks. And yes, hi Maddie, how are you today? I have the best little measlets. I'm gonna have to tear some fabric again. I may go ahead and just cut 2 strips of this time. One. Yeah, definitely just going to go ahead and cut 2. I have some blocks I'll be making for another panel another day that are going to involve actually cutting triangles and squares and stuff. So I'm not tearing all of my fabric up in advance for this particular thing. If I was making a quilt and I knew all the blocks were going to be log cabin ones and I was using specific fabrics for them and only for that project, I would just tear everything into strips at the beginning and be done with it. All right, now this can go back over here. Going to need to press these 2 strips. So scissors go there, ruler goes up here. Command hooks are wonderful. Okay, so Cheyenne's asked me why tear instead of cut. I did mention this earlier, but to say it again, with fabric like this, that is just a plain cotton that I've dyed, it doesn't have any print on it or anything to disrupt the fibers, and everything, I don't know how well my camera will show this, everything is a really straight grain. So the easiest way to get a nice straight strip of fabric that doesn't end up bowing somewhere or unraveling along the edges, easiest way is to just measure it and tear it along the grain. And so then I get nice regular sized strips without having to spend hours lining up and cutting the fabric very, very carefully. And since all of the rippled edges get put into the seam allowance, they just kind of disappear and it doesn't show any harmful effects. It's just kind of a regular way to make these. When people are making log cabin quilts, a lot of times, if they're buying commercial fabric, they'll get something called a jelly roll, which is basically just a whole bunch of pre-cut strips that are all the right size and length, and it's really fast. But that's not what I'm doing. My one fear in all of this is that I'm going to run out of fabric before, not immediately. I mean, it'll take me a few weeks to do that. But it's more, if I run out of fabric, I'll have to find something else to amuse myself, which I'm sure I can do, but. Just pressing these to make sure there's no wrinkles in them. There's one. All right, so yeah, there I've got 2 more nice strips of blue fabric, and I'm going to finish pinning things to them. I do have a lot of little bits to pin here, so if anyone has questions or things they want me to answer while I am pinning, I will gladly do that. Just leave me a comment, and I will gladly answer questions or talk about stuff, or just say hello to you. If you would like to be acknowledged, I will acknowledge you. Hold that for me. Nice thing about me doing more of these blocks all at the same time like this is that you get to stay in the same camera angle for a little bit longer. Yesterday, since I was only doing 3 blocks, it was kind of a constant move here, move there, and back again sort of a thing. I have to get some more pins. My pin jar is empty. And there we go. There's another one. Grab some pins. Just a second. Pins. And yes, this is, for those of you who haven't seen it before, this is the pin pot that sits next to my sewing machine when I take pins out, and it is a piece of glass that I actually glue myself, and I'm still very proud of. And there's another one. Almost done pinning these, and then I'll get on to sewing. A little bit for my scrap basket. And there's that one. And 2 more to pin, and then I can start sewing them. Yay! All right, there's the last one. Now to turn you around. Oh, there's the rest of my apartment. And tilt this way. Ah, there we are. See if I get this angle a little bit better. There we go. Let me get some water here. All right, where was I? Ah, yes, sewing. There's my stack of blocks that I have in progress, all ready to be sewn. And now I'm going to start sewing them. Ah, Gertrude. Needle threader. Goal here is to get a nice even 1/4 inch seam on all of these. And I know it's pretty much exactly a 1/4 inch from the needle to the outside edge of this foot, so I line fabric up on that. That's one. So what I do a thing called chain piecing. So I'm going to just keep picking up one of these and sewing it until they're a nice long garland, and then I'll snip them all and press them all and continue on like that. And another block. Again, I'm just taking all these little sets of blocks that I pinned, and these are going to be the centers of the pattern that I'm making. Again, if anyone has things they want me to talk about while I'm sewing, please let me know and I will. I don't mind. But otherwise, I'll just let y'all keep listening to Gertrude sing. Again, I hope that this is actually broadcasting correctly. I can never be sure of the internet connection in this building, so if it is cutting in and out, I apologize for that. It looks like I have a lot fewer event logs showing up in here today saying that it's not receiving signal. So that's at least something. I need to work out better methods for streaming stuff. I never really set out to be a live streamer. I just kind of started doing this week, and I'm kind of playing catch up with figuring out how the technology actually works. Anybody has advice for me on that, please feel free to send it to me, because I'll take all the help I can get at this point trying to figure out how to do this more efficiently. Because I do enjoy sharing what I'm up to with y'all. Even though today it's just watch me sew things and or press them, because there will be so much pressing today. There's another one. I have a pretty big stack of these still. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on sewing. And if I see any comments, I will respond to them out loud. But otherwise, I just hope you're enjoying this. And looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more of these to go. And then I'll be over back by the window pressing them. Well, then I'll be clipping them apart. I do like chain piecing, if only because it means they can't escape from me once I've sewn them. Also means I'll have to thread the needle fewer times. Just going to take a short break from sewing to see if I can share this so that the rest of my family and friends can see this. And if you like this and want people to see it, please do feel free to share this. And I just hope that this is something happy and positive and helpful that I can share with all of you. Let's see. To see if I can share. There's a bit of a lag on the stream. That explains it. That's interesting. I've not really played much with this software yet, so I'm still trying to figure out how this all works, but I'm going to close this and just get back to sewing because it's way too much technology for me all at once. Sorry about that. Again, I don't know how many people are actually going to watch. It doesn't matter to me all that much, really. I just like the idea of people getting to spend some time watching something a little bit less intense than some of the other things that are out there right now, like, you know, the news. For mental health reasons, I do tend to avoid the news. I have it filtered through my mother and my brother because I just can't take the intensity of news media anymore. Instead, I sew things and I try to make the world a better place when I'm in it, which today I am virtually around the world, but mainly just sewing and hoping for the best. And there's another one. And next to last one. And last one. All right, that's the first stripe added onto all of these. So I'm going to sit here and unclip them. Sorry for the shaking. I bumped into the table that you're sitting on. You're actually sitting on top of my side table, but on top of my printer that sits on my side table, because that is the easiest place for me to set the computer where I can get a good angle while it's still stable. It is kind of like a pretty garland. All right, so this is the first stripe and set onto the core. So now I just have to keep adding strips to this. Well, first I have to take all of these over to the iron and iron them. And then I have to cut my next set, tear my next strips, which are going to be white, and sew those on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you around. Hold up for me. And start doing that. So back over to the iron and lovely hillside angle here. Move this strip out of the way. And get the iron turned on. The switch for my iron is down on the floor. So, got all of my blocks here. And I'm just going to, one by one, press those with the seam going away from the white piece. Seems my iron is fitting a little bit. And there is the center block. So I'll set that here with you. Actually, so you can see it, I'll just put them right here so you can see the stack. And now for another one. And there's number 2. So I'm just pressing the seams down so that they'll lay nice and not get caught when I'm sewing them. And also just doing a little bit of pressing to make sure there's no really bad wrinkles in my fabric. There's another one. Again, all of this fabric was originally white. I have dyed it different colors. And that is something that I'm really glad I started doing for this project, so that I now have something to do while I'm home, is work on all of my patchwork, as well as all of my written work. I have an essay I'm going to be working on this afternoon once I am done with all of this. And there's that one. Almost forgot to show you that one. There it is. You can see some of the nice patterns in these from the different dyeing methods I've used on them. I do love this red fabric. It was one of the first ice dye tests that I did. And it has these lovely kind of almost flower petal patterns on it. This one has just a little touch of yellow in it. Again, questions, comments, things you want me to talk about, do let me know. I will gladly try to talk about it. And there's that one. My iron does spit a little bit. All right, there's another one. And another. This one has a really nice pattern in it. Another. And another one. I am planning to get a webcam that I can set up somehow above me so that you can actually see what I'm doing when I'm doing these things. And there's that one. And there's this one. Getting there. Only have 4 more. And there's the next one. I do like how these are coming out. I really like how these fabrics are going together. And there's another one, and you can see how neatly the seams on the other side are lining up now. 2 more. And there's another one. It's starting to sound like I'm repeating myself a lot. And last one. Then I can tear the strips for the next lines of this, and I can start pinning. All right, so I'm going to turn the iron off so I don't steam myself out of my house. And I'm going to get a little drink of water, and then I'll be right back. So again, I'm really curious as to who all might be watching this and where you're from, just what time of day it is there, whether you have sunshine or not. This is how I am reaching out to the world for social contact. I am talking to the world, and if anyone cares to talk to me as well, I'm okay with that. So if you want to leave me a little comment and say hi, I will say hi to you if I can see the comment pop up. But in either case, just hi everyone. I love you. See, this is half a heart. There's a cup in my other hand, but I get dehydrated really easily. And somehow I became a glass blower where I'm having to be in incredible heat all the time. Not that I'm alien to incredible heat. I am from Texas after all. But I got a bit dehydrated yesterday because I didn't stop to get water regularly. It was a mistake. Anyway, I will show you the yellow fabric that'll go on when I do yellow fabric, but Hi, Mom! Hi! So my mother is watching me now, which is exciting. So, Mother, look. They're taking shape. Gonna get my next set of strips torn now. They're going to be white again because they're going to go on this spot. So my mother is the matron of the arts in my life. She is the one who has made it possible for me to get this far doing the things that I love and coming and learning how to do them. And I love her very much. And I'm not just saying that because she's watching me. I say that anyway. But she's also one of the people who taught me how to do all of the patchwork things. Runs in her family. I mean, I brought quilts with me when I moved to England because that's just what one does in my family. We have quilts that different women have made for us, and we bring them with us all the time. So now I'm gonna just finish tearing this bit off. Get a string on this piece of fabric. All right, so I'm gonna line this up and make a couple of little snips right at the mark there. Spread it out a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and cut 3 of these because I know I'm going to be using white for the next 2 strips. All right, so now I can go through and tear these. So and this fabric tears really nicely. It does stay pretty much right on the measurement. Ta-da! So you can see these ends are pretty much about the same width. Not quite entirely, I tore too slow, but so there's that one. And 2. If you like the sound of fabric ripping, you're in the right place. 3. 4. So now I'm going to set my fabric out of the way, and I am going to iron these 3 or 4 strips so that they're nice and not wrinkled. Just really quickly press the wrinkles out of these. So there's the first one. Oh, all of my pins have been upset. I'm going to set that over here with you and press these other ones. And there's another one. You can hold that. Just getting all these white strips nice and smooth so that when I put them on my blocks, they don't have a lot of wrinkles that I have to try and iron out later. So I'm going to remove these little strings off the sides of my fabric. Again, there are other ways to prepare your fabric than tearing it. It's just with the fabric that I'm using and for my purposes, tearing it actually works very well, and it's much faster than lining it all up and cutting it, especially because even though I have a plan for what sort of sequence of colors, I am picking the fabrics kind of arbitrarily as I go. So I'd rather just tear the fabric as I need it than cut a bunch of strips and not end up needing them to be strips. One more strip after this. You can see it's nice and clean here. So I'm pairing really brightly colored primary colored ones on these with white on one side, so that when I seam all the blocks together, it'll make a bigger design. And last strip that needs to be ironed. I'm just gonna get the little extra strings off the edge. That's why. This one had a lucky edge to do this. So I hope that y'all are enjoying watching me press and sew things. I know when my first couple live streams were taking photos of the glass that I have downstairs stored in my kitchen. I will probably, once I have more of an idea of what pieces are going to be my semi-final test pieces, I will probably do another video and really go through and explain what the process is that I use for making my glass pieces and why I am determined to do it a certain way. If y'all are interested in seeing that, do let me know. If there's anything in particular you'd like me to talk about, please leave me a comment here or somewhere, or send my Facebook page a message, and I will consider that for my things to talk about in future live streams, or that I might make a shorter standalone video for. They have told me that some of my assessment stuff can be in video form, so what I might do is actually make a small series of 10 or 15-minute videos about my process and the different aspects of my project, put them all on my YouTube channel, and then just send my professors a playlist. And of course, I would let you all see that too. So if anyone likes that idea, please let me know, because I think it might actually work. So there's that. And now I can start pinning things. So I'll just thank you for holding those for me. I do have a couple of shorter pieces of white that I'm going to start with. The nice thing with log cabin blocks is that they can be quite scrappy. And I do like that aspect of it, because you can kind of get a lot of use out of fabric that is shorter pieces. Granted, I am using lengths of fabric that I have cut specifically for this. But if you wanted to use old sheets or different things, it's really an easy pattern for making a lot of blocks quite quickly and for making very beautiful, graphically interesting quilts. I have a whole book, I'll show it to you once I finish pinning this block, of log cabin quilt patterns and overall designs you can make with them, and tips and tricks for making these that I got as part of my research, because there is an entire shelf on my bookcase over here that you see as I go past that is nothing but quilt books. And back in my mother's house, we have, what is it, 2 small bookcases worth of craft and art and quilting books, because my mother is the one who, well, she gave me this t-shirt. It is a bad pun about not being able to resist books, and it is very appropriate. Anytime I run into interesting older quilting books in charity shops or used bookstores, I do tend to grab them. So there's this block pinned and ready to sew. I need to pin all the rest of these first, but I'm just going to grab a sip of water and that book so I can show it to you, and then I'll get back to pinning. So yeah, this is the book that I have gotten a lot of my information about these kinds of quilt blocks from. I found it in a charity shop for £1. No, that is a $1. I ordered this off of Amazon and it was less, and it was just a couple pounds, but has all the different designs and permutations of ways to lay these things out. And I absolutely love this book, and it has been such a source of inspiration to me. And it is one of the many quilt books that live on my shelf. And that book is where I got the technique for tearing strips of fabric rather than cutting them. So let's see. Next one goes like so. Ha, just barely long enough, guys. That's all that was left. I have a bag down here that I drop little short bits of fabric into. So there's another one. That is all pinned up and ready to get its next stripe added. Set that with you. And piece of white fabric. And the pinning continues. Just have to make sure that I put the strip on the correct spot because I really don't want to have to go through and unpick anything. And there's another one. Oh, hi Terry. I hope you are enjoying this because I am enjoying showing people what I'm up to and what I'm making. It may be a few days worth of Katie continues sewing strips onto the log cabin blocks for this particular banner, just because it takes time to sew things, and these particular blocks have quite the sequence of colors that's going to go onto them. If anyone else is inspired and wants to make some log cabin blocks and things along with me, those of you quilters or seamstresses or things out there, do let me know. Get in contact with me, and if you take pictures of the stuff you're making, tag me. I want to see, because I need more happy things in my feed, and bright, colorful, shiny things, and creativity. We all need more good things right now. Granted, the world always needs more bright, shiny, wonderful things. But right now especially. So there's another block all pinned up and ready to go. And it's just going to sit here in the pile with the rest of them. Now I'm onto these strips. I'll start from this end. I'm actually going to cut this first to get some of that selvage, to get most of the selvage off. And then I will start pinning. So I'm going to turn these so that they're easier to do. There's that. So there's this one. There is a lot of repetitive cutting and piecing and pressing and all of that that goes into this, but the result is beautiful, and I'm very excited about where it's going to go. My goal with the whole thing with the fabric aspect of my project is to make a bunch of single panel, just panels or banners that'll hang down from a ceiling or on a wall, near or underneath, with part of them underneath some clear glass objects that I've made. Those of you who saw my first few live streams, or haven't seen them yet, you can go back and see some of my glass if those videos work. But so I'm going to be playing with the patterns and with the way that the glass reflects in them. And yeah. Although I have to say, this is where I really wish that I was home, because normally if I was doing something like this and my mother wasn't busy, she'd be helping me. Or actually, the other thing I was really hoping would happen when I got to this stage of the project is that my friends would still be in Farnham and would be able to come over and have our little sewing circle at my house, and I help them with their stuff on the regular, with teaching them knitting and helping them with various things. So my hope was, oh, I can have my girls come over and we can have a sewing bee and they can help me patchwork things and I'll help them with their sewing things and we can all be friends and we can make baked goods and watch movies and sew stuff. And that hasn't happened. But hopefully someday I will have my sewing circle together and we'll do a little sewing bee and make beautiful things together. Well, I suppose I may try putting together a virtual sewing circle with my girls and try doing a Skype sewing circle session. I need to ask them about that. So there's that one. I have to say, there's part of me that, because the sun is shining, has a distinct urge to go to the park and hide in a tree. But I'm not quite comfortable leaving my house right now, not because of any world situation, but more because of people. I'm not exactly keen to have anyone notice me leaving my house, if that makes any sense. I'll get over it probably tomorrow or something. At some point you will get a little update of, I found a tree and climbed it, but that's not going to be today. Although I suppose tree climbing would count as my one small leaving the house for exercise thing, because I don't need to go to the shops yet, and I don't really want to go out and cause anybody any trouble until I absolutely have to. Although if the weather keeps being this nice, I'm not going to be able to help it. I will go find a tree and I will sit in it. I will say that is the nice thing about living in England. The trees are actually climbable here. I grew up in the part of Texas where the only trees really are either mesquite trees that have rattlesnakes living under them, or are trees somebody planted in their yard that's not necessarily the best kind of tree for climbing. And also I'm short, so I couldn't reach very easily. Or, you know, we'll have spiders and wasps and other critters living in them that you don't want to get anywhere near. There's that one. Whereas here, I've gotten to climb trees in the park here, and they are lovely, and nothing tries to kill me when I climb trees here. Yeah, you don't want to climb a mesquite tree, guys. Just, it's not worth it. But that will have to be my one small excursion for exercise, is I will go to the park, I will find a tree, I will climb it, and then I will come home. But not today. Today I am just enjoying doing some patchwork and hanging out with y'all. Donna, hi! Luckily, yay! Facebook shows me when people I'm friends with join, so I can actually see you. Donna that I am waving to was one of my first art teachers. Look, I made it somewhere. So here's my patchwork that I'm working on. This is eventually going to be a nice long banner, but right now it's just a whole stack of little things that I need to sew, which is why I'm hanging out with all of you while I do this. This is a heart. Thank you. You just made my day. My hope is that someday I will be able to bring this whole body of work with the patchwork and the glass back to West Texas so I can show everyone at home what I've been doing, especially because this is my heritage right here that I'm working with. All the women in my family making quilts and all the women in the community back home. When I was doing my history degree at McMurray University in Abilene, I did an I did a major project that was almost an honors thesis, long story, about the history of quilt making and patchwork in northwestern Texas. And I had so much fun researching that because essentially all of these older women in my community that I'd known all my life just kind of let me hang out with them and let me dig through their linen closets and take pictures of their quilts. And I got to hang out with a group of women who meet at the library in Lockney, Texas, and sew things and quilt together. And it was just the best experience. And I want to do more of that. And I want to highlight more of that aspect of my culture with my work. And that's part of why I gravitated back towards quilting, because this is what I fall back to. Anytime I have an assignment that I have no idea what to pick for, it ends up being quilt related. And yes, I can talk about this stuff quite a bit if I'm left to my own devices. So there's that one. And this is why I tore so many white strips earlier. Just gonna snip my selvage off here. I have to say, these are really nice fabric scissors. They cut so well and they're comfortable. And I never let anyone use them for anything but fabric, and that is why they are still nice. Ah, yes. All right. So let me unplug the laptop and come with me into a different part of my apartment. So this is one of the banners. This one has a pattern that I absolutely love in it called Old Maids Puzzle. As you can see, it is quite long. It is intended to be hung from a bit higher than this. And this was one of my test pieces that I made to show my professors what I was talking about with long patchwork banners. You can also see over there on my couch underneath my other patchwork bits, one of the quilts I brought with me from Texas. So this has, just gonna hold the camera still for a bit here. This has some of those fabrics that I had overdyed that were originally prints in different colors. And it is so long. I designed it and I knew it was going to be long, but it ended up being much longer than I expected it would be. So eventually, I'm just going to set you down. Since I've had someone ask, I'm going to set you down here so I can show you kind of what I'm planning. So this is one of my test pieces for my project. So eventually, this is kind of the sort of thing I would be doing potentially with some of these banners, is having these glass pieces with it. I've got a big round one here. So something playing with the way that the light reflects and the way the patterns work in the glass and in the patchwork and how they kind of communicate with each other, and make it kind of be about how the patterns were carried with people as they moved from place to place, and how, so this would be kind of, if you were to tip one of these bottles over, this pattern is what would spill out. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And as you can see again, it's quite long. So I'm going to get back to some sewing, but if anyone else has questions, do let me know, and I will just going to carefully carry you around now. Just going to get back over here. Okay, so I've just seen I had some more comments on here. I'm glad y'all like that. And Donna, in answer to your question, I'm allowed to go out once a day for exercise or to go to shops for essential things. However, I've not been exercising that right because I'm happy in my nice little nest and I don't really want to go out and be around people. The technology and online learning, I mean, I was homeschooled for most of my childhood, so I'm used to doing that sort of thing at a distance, although talking to my teachers over the internet is very different to doing my homework and mailing it to a teacher, which is what I used to do. So it's a transition. I think there's a lot of good that can come from online learning. I think there are some things, though, especially in the kind of work that I'm doing with glass and with textile art, that are a bit more difficult to teach over the internet, especially because with glass blowing, pretty much the entire glass blowing community in this country is either working from a furnace that they have at their house or has emptied their furnace out. So I'll be able to get back to that aspect of my project eventually, but right now I'm just enjoying having some time to really dedicate myself to doing patchwork and writing about all of my work for all of my assessments. And my goal is to get all of my homework done so that I can do some of my fun writing and maybe get some other projects out of my boxes of things. But yeah, so that's what I did. I still have the iron turned on. I don't need that on right now. Anyway, I'm going to go back to pinning these. Again, if anyone has any comments or questions, I do read them as I can get them. Sometimes my internet connection gives a bit of a lag, but I will answer and talk to you because my whole project is about, in some ways, that community of people interacting and the way that the patterns are transmitted and the sort of sewing bee, quilting bee kind of philosophy. So I'm kind of excited that I'm getting to share at least a little bit of what I'm doing with other people, because if I was going to set something in this body of work up for, there's another one, a specific gallery or a museum or something, I would actually want to have some sort of a experiential, everyone get around and help me sew some of this or help me quilt this quilt that goes with this. That's just the kind of stuff I love doing. And again, we need community building and positivity in this world more than ever right now. And there's that. And there's another one. And there's another one. And that's the last one, which means I can turn you around and actually do some more sewing, which will be great. So here we are back on this side of the room. Gonna tilt you down. Gonna plug my laptop back in because I forgot to do that earlier so that I don't suddenly lose battery. I desperately need to get better camera set up here for doing this if I'm going to continue to do this. All right, so, and here we are back over with Gertrude, the sewing machine. No, I don't know why that's the name that I ended up finding for her. It's just kind of the name that suited her. She does make a very nice sound. I don't know how well it picks up on the camera, but this sewing machine makes just the nicest sound. Again, I do hope that y'all enjoy watching me sewing things, because I do enjoy the sewing and I find it meditative, just the repetitive motion in doing this. But I don't know how interesting it is to watch. You'll have to let me know if this is interesting to watch or if I need to be talking over it more. This does count as at least partial upper arm workout, I think. Can I get a sip of water here? She does this thing where she crawls forward. I'm getting to the bottom of the pile, really, I am. It's just there's a lot of these blocks there that I'm needing to make the full banner. So the idea is that I make all the blocks at the same time, and then it goes much faster than making them one at a time and waiting between them, and also makes me make sure that all the fabric is going to match in them. I haven't decided yet if this is going to be the version of the banner with the diamonds, with the inner diamonds being the colored fabric, or with the inner diamonds being the white. Haven't quite figured that out yet. I'll know once I got the blocks done. Oh, I just read your comment, Mom. It's nice to have virtual time with you too. I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have Skype to keep in touch with my family. Um, and I'm gonna keep making beautiful things for as long as I'm able to. So again, and if y'all see beautiful things in the background of these videos or want to see any of my glass or other things, do let me know and I will gladly show you things because I do have some interesting bits and pieces around my apartment. I may have to pull out the crane that I made a couple years ago that's actually made out of willow canes at some point. Not today, because today I am determined to at least get the first round of strips on these before I stop and go back to working on my essay that is coming up due in a few weeks, or my professional practices stuff, which is both coming up due and is all stuff that I need to get done, like, you know, putting my website together, getting all my photos onto the website, and getting it so that regardless of what streaming platform I end up using, I am going to hopefully continue doing these live videos. And hopefully I will be able to have those where if you don't have a Facebook page, or if I end up switching over to doing YouTube, because I still have issues with the Facebook setup sometimes, that people will be able to go to my website and look at things there without having to be in an account on any particular thing. That's still all in the works, but right now I have more sewing to do. I get into a bit of a rhythm doing this. Okay, my neighbors from somewhere around here are making really interesting sounds. I don't know if you can hear them. I think they're chopping wood or something, but I have the window open so that the heat from my work light or the iron doesn't make it too unbearably hot in here. And I can hear some really interesting sounds. Usually birds, though. There's a lot of birds that are very happy because it is spring, and oh my goodness, there is sunshine in England, and I don't know how that happened. Except that the weather here has a sense of humor, and since everyone has to stay in their houses, it's going to be sunny and beautiful. And that was the last one. Yay! So, I have a nice garland here. I could just make a bunch of little blocks and hang them around like this, but I need to clip these apart and then press them. I'm going to sit here to clip them. So, don't know if anyone is still watching or not, but if you are, hi. If you've been watching all along through all of this, or if you're watching the video on another day and have watched all the way through, thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed this and that it is good entertainment or background noise or whatever you're using it for, distraction. I don't mind being a distraction. As long as I'm a good distraction, you know, the kind that makes you feel better about yourself in the world. So these little snips are really nice. They've got one little finger hole and then they just go, kind of look like a bird. And they sound like one too. The finger hole is more just so you don't drop them. Right, so this is what that looks like now, and you can kind of start to see the pattern forming. So I'm going to take all of these over to the iron, press them, and then I will pin my next strip on, which will go here, and it will be another white strip. I do like how this is going so far. The idea is that with the white side, while it'll all be the same color, you'll still be able to see these nice seam lines. So it'll be nice and compelling to look at. So back to the other side of the room. And here we are. So this is why I cut all the extra white strips earlier, was to toward them so that I could make sure I had plenty of white for this next set. I'm just going to turn my iron back on. I know it would be perfectly safe if I left it there, but I was taught at a very young age to not leave irons on sitting somewhere. So I'm just going to press all of these, and I am pressing all of the seams away from the center so it's a little bit stronger and all the seams lay nice and flat. And there we have it. There's the first one. And now I just have a bunch more to go through and press. I'll leave that with you. and just go to pressing these. Again, if anyone who's watching has something they want me to talk about while I'm pressing things, please let me know. Preferably things that aren't really the big whole world situation, because that's a bit big for me to handle right now. But I will gladly talk about other things. I mean, I have a degree in history and literature, so don't mind that. There's another one. I'm excited with how these are turning out. I think they're really nice. I just have this whole pile that I have to go through and press. So you can see on the back here where I'm pressing these seams, they're all going to kind of nest together to help keep it flat. And there's another one. And here's another one. So there's another one. Again, I do apologize if this stream is patchy anywhere. I know that my building is old, and that sometimes the wiring with the internet connection through here is not the best. So if it's fuzzy somewhere in all of this, I apologize for that. I don't entirely know how to fix it because I'm still very new to this whole live streaming thing. Front and back. And you can actually see on this one, I'm going to hold up the camera, how nice and neat those torn edged seams are. And there's that one. And there's that one. Panel's getting smaller, I promise. There's just a lot of these blocks that I'm making because I'm making all of the blocks for the whole banner at the same time. There's this one. My phone's making sounds. I'll have to check that in a bit. But I've got 2 more of these to iron, and then I will decide what to do with that. All right, so now I can turn my iron off and show you this. I'm so happy with how these are coming out. They're so nice. And now I just need to start pinning the next layer of stripes to them. First, I'm just going to make sure that wasn't anything important. And no, it's nothing that cannot wait. So I'm going to get these all pinned up, and then I will decide once I get them pinned whether I'm going to keep streaming or whether I'm going to stop and go get food. Because it's getting to be close to 6, or it's just after 6 here. At the most, I'll go for another half hour or so. Luckily, the stream thing does give me a timer, which is great because I am usually really bad at keeping track of time because I get caught up in what I'm doing. And yeah, so I'm just going to pin each one of these to the white strip of fabric that's going on as the next stripe. Again, I'm not sure how long is a live stream thing is supposed to be. I think, I don't think I will ever, at least not without having food available for me or something really interesting going on. I don't think I'll ever really go that far past 2 hours or 2.5 hours like I did yesterday. Just because that's about how long it takes for me to really start getting dehydrated from not having stopped to get extra sips of water or go downstairs and get more because my kitchen is below me. Anyway, so there's that with the next white strip added. I'm going to just set that down. All right. So y'all tell me, how long is it appropriate for something like this? What is your attention span for something like this, I guess is a better way of asking. Is an hour good? Is 2 hours okay? I know for the duration of my needing to stay in my house, it's probably going to stay around that 2 to 2.5 hour mark. Just because I have a lot of time on my hands that I can share with y'all because I am hanging out in my studio at home and I can spare that much time. But when after we're all allowed to leave our houses again and I can start getting back into workshops and things, I would like to do this as maybe a once a week thing. So I'm trying to think through how long on that 1 day a week I would be live streaming for. So if anyone has opinions on that, do let me know. There's another one. And that piece of fabric is too short, so it's going to go over here with the other strippy bits. I have a basket that my strips I'm not currently using go into because that piece of fabric is probably too small for what I'm doing right now, but it'll be the right size for something later. And I have plenty of strips here. As as the blocks grow, the amount of strip needed to add on each layer gets much longer. So I end up needing more strip as they get bigger. So I'm just going to continue pinning. So there's that one. The other nice thing with these blocks is that they're just a bunch of straight seams. They sew up so quickly. I sew it much more quickly when you're not making a whole bunch of them at once. But making them like this does mean that when I get all the strips added to them, all of my blocks will be done, and all I have to do is seam the blocks together. So as I'm pinning these, and I'll show you after I get this one pinned, I'm making sure that I'm pinning specifically down the places where the seams are already in place and folded over, so that as I'm sewing them, since some of them are going one direction and some are going another, they won't get caught on the sewing machine and lay funky. All right. So yeah, this is how I'm pinning them. So there's a pin in each one of the side seams on each piece of fabric that's been added in here. Now let's see. Yeah, that gets a bit too short too. All right, since I'm going to be making lots of log cabin blocks in some of my other banners that I'm going to be making, I am saving all of my nice little scraps that are already the right width. And there's another block. There are, let's see, 20 of these blocks that I'm making right now. And there's another one. We're getting close to the end of the stack, I promise. See, it's getting smaller. I'm gonna have to make some more strips. It's such a nice day. There's another one. Just going to tidy this bit of strip up. All right, so that piece is definitely too short to put on all of these, so I'm going to need to tear another white strip. First, here's this. All right, so where's my white fabric? There's my white fabric. So as usual, I'm just going to measure out 2.5-inch strips and tear them off of this. And prepare for tearing sound. One. Again, for anybody who hasn't been here when I was explaining this before, I do tear the strips for this particular pattern because it's an easy way to get a strip that is nice and straight and has no issues with its width, and it's much faster than lining up all of the fabric and cutting it. And once I iron them, it'll be just nice. It'll be just fine. I am using a 100% cotton poplin here. It's just a nice fabric. It has a nice, easy to tear grain on it. And it takes dye well, which is why I picked it in the first place. Was because it dyed so nicely. It does have lots of strings on it there. Okay, so that should be enough for now. I have lots of strings in the floor here I'm going to need to clean. Perks of doing the live streams: it gives me a reason to continuously clean my house. Which, granted, I do that. I do keep my house tidy, but my work space can get a little bit messy sometimes, especially if I'm the only one who's going to be in it for an extended period of time. But I am intermittently cleaning parts of my house in between working on my schoolwork, as in my written work, and my patchwork and things like that. So I'm just gently pressing this now to kind of help get out some of that puckering and to get rid of any wrinkles from where the fabric was folded. And for anyone who's watching this entire video, I apologize that I keep repeating myself, but I feel like it needs to be said here and there, just in case people are popping in and out during the live stream and have no idea what's going on. So there's a nice white strip. And there's another white strip. And one more. there's all my strips. Now I'm just going to finish pinning these. And then I can't decide if I want to sew them right now or if I want to save that for after I've gotten something to drink. And yeah, because we're getting close to that 2.5 hour mark, and I think that's going to be my limit for this, just so that I remember to stop and do something else for a bit. So I'm going to finish pinning these. I'll set them all by the sewing machine, and then tomorrow I will be working on this some more. But I will talk to you all a bit about what my plan for tomorrow is after I get these pinned. So anybody has any questions for me while I'm pinning these up, do leave me a comment and I will answer it. And for tomorrow's live stream, because I am doing this every day right now, if you have any questions or things that I do that you'd like to know more about, or anything else you want me to try talking about on the live stream, do send me those questions or other things, and I will do my best to see if I can bring them up at some point while I'm doing this. And there's that one. And there's that one. 3 more. Yeah, I think I am just going to stop for a while after I get these pinned, so I will say goodbye to you all after I get these done. And there's another one. And one more. This is the last one for today. I'm just going to pin this, and then I'm going to go get dinner because it is almost 6:30, getting close to 7 o'clock here. And it is still an absolutely gorgeous day. All right, so that can go in my bin of 2.5-inch strips. There's that. And I'm just gonna set these by the sewing machine and turn it around so that I can properly end this stream off. So that was fun. I have a whole stack of these that after I get some dinner, I am probably going to sew these and do a little bit more work on them. And then tomorrow I'm going to pick back up with this because this is my first of my final banners, hopefully. And I need to get it done. Partially to keep my sanity, because patchwork and my work is also what I do for fun and for relaxation. I am in a very blessed position that I can do my work and it is something that brings me joy. And that's why I've chosen this line of work. So I am going to be live streaming again tomorrow. I will be working on this project some more. And if anyone has questions or comments or things you want to know about or things that you'd like to hear somebody talking about that are not the current world situation, because I am your little voice of positivity in this world. There are good things in this world. There are good things that have been in this world. There's a lot of joy that's to be had, and I am so happy that I'm in a position where I can talk to y'all and bring a little bit of brightness to your day, even if it is just, hey, this girl is sewing things. But I will gladly keep doing this as long as I have the ability to, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, if you want to get updates from me pretty frequently, I do have an Instagram, which is you can find here from my Facebook page. That's at Lil Fairy Silverwings, so LILFAERY Silverwings, because I got that before I decided I was in fact going to start working towards changing my name. But I post things on Instagram, but they also get cross-posted to my Facebook page. That is the hub of everything that I do. So if you are following my Facebook page, you will get updates when I post pictures of things that I have in process or when I do videos like this. And it's going to stay that way, I think, where no matter what is going on, it's going to be on the Facebook page where y'all can find it if you're interested in seeing more from me. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for sharing part of it with me. And I hope that there is a little bit of joy in your day, even if it's just the littlest bit. We all need something to cling to. And here, my thing is that I have pretty fabric to play with and the sun is shining. So I'll leave it with that. And bye, everybody. Have a nice rest of your day.